I do not know how to style hair. Oh well. I'll learn someday. Anyway, today is my first consultation with the fertility people. Should be interesting. I've got a green shirt on because my sister-in-law said that you're supposed to wear green. But because I'm an absolute nerd, I've also got my Katekyo Hitman Reborn cloud rings on. So you can. So here's the gem one and the original. Because as you all know, cloud attribute is reproduction or propagation. So obviously that, and I can't discount the name. I won't use, or discount the, like I won't use the name Kyoya is more or less what I'm trying to say. I like that name, and I think a name with one consonant and 5 vowels is hilarious. I'm terrible at naming things. That's gonna be an issue. Like, I blame my mom for like me never having my first name spelled correctly, because it's supposed to be Nicole, but it's spelled nickel. So lots of issues. I never get the keychains with my name on them or any of those kind of things. Everything has to be custom, which is easier now than it was in the 80s. Because yeah, there is not much made for the name Nickel. But it's Nicole, I guess, which is why I go by Nico, because dear lord, that given name is a nightmare. So yeah, I shouldn't be given this power, but whatever. I'm terrible at naming things. But yeah, so today go in. Mostly we'll talk about my general health. Have to have one of those vaginal sonograms. So like, yeah, sure, whatever. I don't care. You're gonna be all up in there for the next I don't know how long, so yeah, sure, whatever. Take as many pictures as you need. And I guess it's mostly just to make sure I don't have like growths or anything. And I'm like, no, everything works great. It's like I'm one of those very lucky women who experiences, no mood swings or pain on their period, and it only lasts maybe 3 days. So I'm extremely lucky that for me, a period is just a light inconvenience, which is also why I don't keep track of the damn thing. Which of course is not the best thing when you're actually going to a place that cares. Like, most places when they ask you, do you know when your last period is, what they're really asking is, could you be pregnant? Or they're trying to get a figure or get some kind of, idea of whether or not you have any issues, like if you're regular or not. They don't actually care about when your last period was. There's a general question kind of like in that question that they're actually asking. For these people, though, because it's a fertility clinic, they actually want to know the specifics. They want to be able to count how many days from the start of my period to like blah, 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 try and figure out ovulation and stuff like that. And I don't know these things. Like I knew my period would probably be sometime this week. It ended up being Sunday, finished it off on Wednesday. So like, oh, okay, cool, awesome. But if I hadn't had it this week and they asked me that question, I'd be like, it's gonna happen soon. I don't know. Kind of expected it to happen already. I have a general idea in my head, but I don't actually keep track of the damn thing. So, since I did have it this week, they get to have like an actual like day and shit. So both of us lucked in on that one. Because like I said, I'm really bad at this kind of thing. If you're not sexually active and everything is working great, you don't really need to keep track of it. I mean, not from, like personal reasons. Medical reasons, obviously, they prefer that. But for me, it's like, no, whatever, I got this. So yay, that happened. Like I said, financing, because insurance doesn't cover this kind of thing, which sucks, but oh well. And then I guess just kind of getting on, some kind of schedule, figuring out whether or not I have to take the shots. And I forget what the name of the shot is, but it more or less increases the number of eggs released during ovulation, which has risks, obviously, of like multiple births, which would be bad because I'm single and one kid's gonna be enough because I got one kid and my darling Hamish, whom I love to death. Brighton, you're gonna go, and I'm sorry, everyone knows I love you less, but you are a sweetheart. She's been peeing in my bed too. That's not okay. You don't pee in mama's bed. Unless you are a baby and you don't know any better. You are like a 3-year-old cat, you know better. No hard feelings, but you are gonna go. So yeah, I've got to figure out, if we're going to have a schedule for the shots, or if, since everything is good and since my age really isn't an issue, and I'm bringing my mom with me because she knows more about like the family's reproductive health history stuff, because like half of my aunts, their uteruses like fell out of them. I think my mom's the only one that still has her uterus, and she's only kind of like now going through menopause. She didn't have me when she was that young. She had me when she was like 20 or 21. So yeah, I'm bringing her along, one, because she's extremely, extremely excited, and number two, because I have a wealth of knowledge in her that I don't ask these questions. Not being a sexually active person, that kind of stuff doesn't come up. She knows when I started my period, I don't. I know I lived in Kentucky at the time, and we only lived in Kentucky for a 3-year period, so I can get a 3-year guess, but that's about it. Yeah, and I know it was before 7th grade because I remember wearing white pants and starting at school. The joys of white pants. I think everybody has that one time where they realize as they're sitting in class that they can't get up, and there's no real way to get around everybody knowing that the entire back of your pants is a bloody, bloody mess. Because the one thing about having like a nice short period that's only like 3 days long is you bleed like a stuck pig for that entire time. Which, like, fine, I bleed really heavy for 2 days, and then I get like two halves of days where I don't bleed much at all. Like I said, I counted about 3 days. It's technically 4, but not really. So yeah, no more white pants in my closet. I don't think I own anything white except for maybe a couple dresses. And I never wear them if I think this might be the week. But yeah, mom's coming. And it's kind of funny because, like, for years, mom was like, oh, I really want grandkids. And I'd be like, all right, give me the turkey baster. And she's like, Nico, don't joke. I want them the right way, the real way. And, that was, I've always kind of had this planned for me. I figured, just being who I am, I would probably end up doing this by myself, if not being in like a relationship with a woman and having to go about this route anyway. But kind of, I always kind of felt like this would be the way it would happen. So, I mean, that's been the joke for over a decade, I would imagine. And her response was always like, whatever. And then after she got her first grandchild from my youngest brother, I want more grandbabies. And again, I'd say, give me the turkey baster. And she'd be like, you really think you'd go that way? That you do artificial? I'm like, yeah. Fast forward a couple more years, start getting a little more grandchildren. She's like, oh, I can't wait till it's you, because it's different when it's, the daughter. I'm like, hey, give me the turkey baster. And she was like, so, like, when do you think you'd actually do that? And I told her, just, based on, what I know in general about fertility, they like you to be, before 35 because chances of birth defects and everything kind of increases after that point, which is, it's just a number, but I was like, yeah, around there, around my 35th birthday. It's like, oh, okay. And it's gotten to the point now where after I had, she would ask, so after you turn 35 or before you're 35? Where in this 35-year-old range is it? I mean, she started getting, like, really interested. And with the jerks that we have in the government right now, kind of looking at healthcare like something they want to completely dismantle, I felt that waiting one more year would not really change anything, except for perhaps in the bad, because I want to be able to get me as a single mother and a kid, everything that we need for as long as we can before somebody comes and dicks around with healthcare. Because the only dicking around they seem to be wanting to do right now is in detriment to people in my position. So as soon as I said, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and just do it this year, one of her first things was, can I inseminate you? Which is probably the creepiest thing any adult has ever said to me, and especially since it's my mother. And as soon as I looked at her, and it was like, she turned beet red, realized that her involvement in that whole procedure in her head was a lot more engrossed. It just no. And she was very ashamed of herself, and she's like, I never mind. I was like, yeah, no, you're just not. But so it's gone from her being like, ugh, no, to being wanting to be that involved. So, and I think it's taken her a while to accept me for me in any way. Like, I'm still not allowed to let my stepdad know that I had a girlfriend. My stepbrothers all know because we talk when they're not around, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. Because the running joke is that everybody in the family has dated a Kristen or Christina, and Mom constantly has to check, which son is married to which. Is it a Kristen or a Christina? So she gets it right on, like, a card. Because I think there are 2 Christinas and 1 Kristen. And my only girlfriend was a Kristen. So it's like, I'm in on this joke too, guys. It also includes me. And of course I had to tell them, that, and they were my friends on Facebook, so like they know me more than my stepdad does. And they don't care. Nobody cares. It's in her head, it'll ruin her marriage. That common thing where it's like, it actually has nothing 100% to do with anyone but myself, but they feel threatened by it. Whatever. But it, like, when we went, she made me go to counseling because she thought I was gay when I was a teenager, and even as an adult, she kept, she's like, oh, I know you better than you know yourself, this isn't who you are, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, well, I'm not a lesbian, I'm a demisexual. And to her credit, like, when I was growing up, you were either straight, gay, or bi. There wasn't asexual, there weren't these other things, and so I just said, oh, I guess I'm bi, because I don't care one way or the other. And then I get older, and I kind of figure, that there are more terms out there, and I'm like, oh, no, yeah, it's not, both, it really is neither. I don't have a preference. It's not, I preference both, I zero preference for either. It is completely an emotional, romantic connection that generates any desire. And so, I think she thought I went from thinking I was attracted to both people to having dated a girl, thinking I was attracted to one, which isn't true. She was my best friend. Demisexual, it clicked. And so and tried to explain to her what demisexuality was. She goes, that's just what everyone feels. And in my head, I'm thinking, maybe you're not straight. I mean, if what I'm describing as demisexual sounds to you like what you've experienced your whole life, you might not be straight. I imagine she's 100% hetero-romantic, perhaps, whereas I'm pan-romantic. But I was like, if you don't feel sexual attraction unless you have a romantic, investment in a human being, then, the reason that you don't understand what I am is because you don't actually, or you've never investigated who you are. But she's happy, she's fine, she doesn't need to figure that kind of stuff out. But the fact that she was denying me my identity because she identified it with herself, but whatever. It is what it is. But she slowly, over time, had to kind of realize that, I'm 34 years old and I've not changed much. I'm a happier person because I've learned to just, fuck everyone else. I am who I am. I'm not going to fight it anymore. But I am who I am. I haven't changed anything in the decades, and ever since high school, and I'm 34, that would have almost 20 years ago, so whatever. She's had to kind of realize that what she denied, what she thought was a stage, or me trying to get attention, or me settling, was not at all what it was. It was just actually me. So, she still wants to know absolutely nothing if it has to do with, girls, which kind of hurts because, like, since the only relationship I've ever had was with a girl, and that breakup just about killed me, it's like, oh, it would have really been nice to have, a supportive mom at that time, or for her to even, like, ask what happened. She doesn't. She just doesn't want to know. We'll work on that further in our future. Right now, at least, I have somebody who will be there in other aspects, and is just kind of learning to just accept me. You know how it is. Anyway, so she's gotten a lot better. And so the fact that she wants to be there, and it's no longer just there's a right way and a wrong way kind of bullshit that she gave me before, I think it's gonna be good. I think it'll help us as long as she doesn't revert in any way. biggest concern is about the religion thing more than anything else, because no, I'm not indoctrinating any kid of mine into any religion, because that's brainwashing, and no, thank you. They can make that choice when they're older. Yeah, so most of the clinicky stuff today will be just new patient consultation. And then they said that because, I guess there's a couple tests that they'd like to do during a certain period of time between the start of your period and blah, 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 blah. I think they said like 10 days, which I think is about something about ovulation. I don't know. I'm going in today to find stuff out. But there's a couple tests that they'd like to do during this time period that because I just had my period, we might be able to also do because I'm kind of in that time period now. Which would be nice because the less times I have to go up there for shit, the better. I'd like us to just be able to say, okay, decide yay or nay on those injections, pick out a donor, buy the sperm, get the sperm sent in, and schedule a time for IUI. Now, if we recommend IUI, I would imagine that they would. When I jokingly say, the turkey baster method, that's not quite IUI. Just, injecting sperm into the vagina is, a method. But when you go actually into the doctor's office, they will inject it past the cervix into your uterus. And it gives it a better chance. It is frozen sperm, so it's not as good as fresh sperm, but it's had all, the testing and stuff on it, so you're not getting anything like diseases or any of that crap. You got like healthy, good sperm going in and doing its job. And my mom was like, well, if you're healthy, why would they want to give you the injections? And I'm like, well, because it's not about me at that case. My body might be perfectly able to do everything it needs to, but if you got some weak-ass sperm, you might want to give them a couple extra targets to hit to kind of increase their chance of viability. Not so much any chance that I need, but anyway. So I would love to be able to go in there and for the timing to have hit perfectly, because I really kind of wanted to do all of this this summer. Because I'm my belly dance schedule is busy in the spring, so I wanted to have had the baby early spring so that I could be ready to belly dance soon. Especially Akon. I want to be able to two of my sister-in-laws are both due in September, and so it would be nice to be as within that school year kind of timing, so that my kid and their kid are in the same grade and involved in a lot of the same things, so that you have nice tight cousins. Because I've always had a big tight family, especially with extended family, and I want that for the kid, which is another reason why I decided this year, not next year, because they would have more cousins their age. Two. One of them lives in California, so that's not as big a thing. The other one would live here, so that's what I'm like. Yeah, I want to keep it, in a good place where my nephew Jace will have a cousin his age, be it a girl or boy. The Fords in my family, the girls have the boys. So I'm pretty sure I'll probably end up with a boy, but who knows? Whatever. I don't care one way or the other. I think it'd be hilarious if the girl in the family passed on the last name. But yeah, my mom actually asked, oh, the baby would have Ford as a last name? And I was like, what the fuck other last name would it have? I'm a Ford. And she was like, yeah, I don't know why I asked that. That was silly. She does it a lot, though. She says the first thing that comes off of her head, can I inseminate you? And then it takes that second longer for her to realize, oh, Jesus, I didn't mean to say that. That was, if I'd taken a little more time, I'd have figured that one was wrong. But yeah, I'm hoping, I would like, because I guess ovulation for me starts in a couple weeks, which is not enough time to have done everything we need to do. So I probably won't actually be able to look until July, which still isn't bad. 10 months out and stuff, but then that's only if that works, because if I have to do it again, well, now we're looking in August, and we start kind of eating up to where it is what it is. But I'm hoping first try, since everything's healthy and good, and I got my green on like Destiny told me, and I got my rings on like I wanted to do, because I'm a total dork, that it'll work first try. I mean, with all the calculations and testing and temperatures and whatever else the hell they have to do. It's like, all right, we got all this science involved in here. That should work. That sounds good. So fingers are crossed because it's expensive and I only wanted to do it once. And I found out how expensive. I keep turning off my computer because I'm talking way too long. Found out how expensive today after we figure out, what all we're gonna do. I'm hoping, like, Mom is going to be there because she wants to be able to ask questions that I might not think to ask. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. I've never pursued pregnancy before. You've had 3 kids, and you've been very involved in 3 of your grandchildren who have, been born or, gestated in the local area. So yeah, okay, that's fine. I want you there because you've got all the medical history. You want to be there because you have questions you might want to ask. Fingers are crossed they actually, like, my stepdad has paid like $1,000 towards like every marriage. Well, I'm not going to get married, so I would really, really appreciate it if instead, since those couples also didn't need to go to fertility clinic, that maybe they would donate that money towards the baby fund instead of the non-existent wedding fund, or if it's just one of those things where if you don't get married, you don't get the money. Yeah, okay, fine. I'll marry myself. I am a licensed minister. I only married one couple, which is good because I cry at weddings, and it's really, really weird when the officiant is crying during a wedding. So that's my today. Today I go meet people, talk, get something shoved up my vagina so they can take pictures, and hopefully everything will just kind of be ready to go from there. Because, I've got stupids amount of sick time since I work from home. If I feel poorly, I still work. I'm here. I like how, like, my entire apartment is like orange walls and red walls and pictures everywhere, except for right the fuck behind me where it is nothing but a white wall, and I hate white walls, and I wish this is where the sunlight is, and this is the ugly part of my home. This is why at least usually I sit in an armchair so you see the nice big red thing in the background. But yeah, so that's today. Lots of stuff today. And then my niece Ellie is graduating her preschool because she's hearing impaired, and it will be very interesting because, like, my youngest brother is hearing impaired. Well, okay, my grandfather is hearing impaired. My father is hearing impaired. My youngest brother is hearing impaired, and both of my youngest brother's daughters are hearing impaired. And a lot of the family still says that there is no hearing impairment in our family line. Like, it just, all these happen situational. I think Grandpa lost his hearing because he worked in a factory. Daddy lost his because he had a high fever as a child. Taylor lost his because he also got sick as a child, and the medicine they were supposed to administer via drip, they injected directly into him. And I guess he also had a fever, whatever. But both my nieces were born hearing impaired. So I know it's there genetically. Like, they can argue all they want. I'm like, all right, 1, 2, 3. No, it's there. It's there. I'm sorry. So it'd be interesting to see if I'm a carrier, because I don't have any hearing impairment. But, as I've said, so much of it in my family. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see if I get that. Also going to go and look at a midwifery place, because I don't really believe babies should be born in hospitals unless there's like an issue. Hospitals are for sick people and emergencies, and having a baby is not because of sickness. So, and again, that's something that probably my insurance won't cover, which annoys the fuck out of me. But it's like, I'm only going to get to do this once in my life. I want to do it the way I want to do it. I don't want to be in a hospital situation where I'm being rushed to give birth because the doctor really would like to go home now. I would like to have a one-on-one experience with someone whose, passion is, delivering children and taking care of, pregnant women and their babies. I want to be able to just, as long as it takes, just do it the way it's supposed to be done. Pregnancy isn't a sickness. You don't need to go to a hospital. So hopefully insurance will do something. Like, I asked my insurance about, this kind of stuff that they would cover, and they cover up to like 3 days in a hospital, and I'm like, holy shit, if you will cover 3 days in a hospital, why the fuck won't you cover me just having the baby at a center or at home or something where I'm not going to be in a hospital at all. Hospitals are expensive. It's like, this makes so much more sense. But whatever. My hair really is a mess. Oh well. It was so much easier when it was short. But now I'm having to be adult. I don't know. Whatever. So, yeah, I will report back when I have all my information and either be like, yay! Or be like, nah. But yeah. Appointment with the people. Check out the midwifery. Graduation for my little niece, who's graduating her hearing impairment school, which is shutting down. Also sad. Fuck Texas. And then babysitting tonight. So there's like lots of babies and kids today, which is fine. I love my little nieces. Ellie loves her Coco. So, and it'd be nice to have a girl, if only because I have so many girl nieces. But the nephew who's being born in September, I think would appreciate having another boy his age. So, like I said, I don't care one way or the other. And it's way too early to even be considering that kind of stuff. But yeah, so I will go take care of all of that. And at some point, I'll be able to come back and finish this video. We'll see.